Just another beautiful day in St. Petersburg, Florida for the Kansas City Royals and the Tampa Bay Rays. Royals baseball is presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors. The Royals are going to try and do something that they haven't done since the middle of June. That's win 3 straight games. How about a Salvi splash? Hi, everybody. Steve Physiok, Rex Udler with you. The Royals saw the brilliance of Danny Duffy in a victory on Monday, and then last night, Salvi goes deep. 4 shutout innings by the bullpen. Life is good in August.
It is amazing what you can do when you keep the ball in the ballpark. Pitchers keep that ball down, use that defense, keep it out of the seats in the outfield. You can get the wins. How about that? When the starters don't allow a home run for our Honda's most trusted, Fizz, it's a beautiful thing when they can do that.
And that is our Honda most trusted player when you keep the ball in the yard and also when you score first.
Yeah, that's been an important number for the Royals. Plus 22 in that category. Get on board first and hold that lead. The bullpen did a great job of holding it last night. Look, this stay hot. Hello, August. It's been good so far.
And the veteran Edinson Volquez will pitch for Kansas City tonight. When we come back, we'll talk Eddie's story and his importance to this team. Edinson Volquez takes the hill for his team-leading 23rd start of the year. Rex, what does this veteran provide our team?
He's a world champion, Fizz. This guy won some big games for this team last season. It's been fun to watch him when he's down in the zone. His 3 pitches all have ground ball written all over him. Let's hope he can keep him in the yard as well.
He has never lost at Tropicana Field, and when we come back, he's hoping to get good offense from this man who likes to center up those pitches. 300, and he says it's because he's not trying to pull that baseball.
No, but I'll tell you what, he's got that bottom hand that's dangerous, taking it right to the pitcher, back up the middle. That's the biggest hole in the diamond, Fizz. Look, we're going to start calling him Paulo Centero because he is centering up that ball, and it's been fun to watch him get on base, especially when he runs them bases.
He is our Toyota League leader, and when we come back here in St. Pete, the Royals try and make it 3 in a row over the Rays. Montgomery with the Ray tank at the Tropicana Field in St. Petersburg, Florida. Alcides Escobar will lead things off. He has got a 5-game hit streak going. Cuthbert will follow, and then Lorenzo Cain, who had his first 2 hits last night since coming off the disabled list. He is facing a hot pitcher in Jake Odorizzi, who since the All-Star break, 0.87 ERA, 2 runs in 20 2/3 innings. Look at the command.
Yeah, he's doing a great job, Fizz, of keeping that ball out of the middle of the plate.
Escobar goes after the first pitch and grounds out to Longoria.
Odorizzi's been really good. I'll tell you, especially over the last 2 starts, 14 2/3 innings. He hasn't allowed an earned run. There's his pitches, a whole plethora. Fastball, changeup, slider, cutter, curve. 88 of his 115 strikeouts have been on that fastball. And he's been good. What he's doing is being aggressive with fastballs away and cutters into lefties. He's got an excellent pitch, that split finger changeup. That's his go-to pitch when runners get in scoring position, and he's been executing it well.
Yeah, he learned that split change, I understand, from teammate Alex Cobb, who's on the disabled list with the Tommy John surgery. But you don't see too many pitchers throwing 5 pitches.
Like Andres, he's been good against left-handed hitters for sure. Lefties only hit 203 with 8 home runs, and it's because of that split finger changeup. And that pitch really was taught from James Shields when all his years with the Rays. He passed it on to Cobb, and Cobb's passing it on to Odorizzi. That's kind of how the chain works. The reason those lefties aren't hitting as well is because he's going aggressive, hard cutters in. And it's a combination between his slider and cutter, you know, maybe about 3 or 4 inches different, but it depends on what's working. His slider hasn't been. His cutter is, and there's a fastball right down the middle, and Cuthbert missed.
He's been using more cutters than sliders, and a cutter doesn't break as much.
Working with Curt Casale, his catcher. They want another high fastball and fouled off. In his last start, he beat the Yankees on Friday 5-1. Did not allow a run in 6 2/3 innings. As a matter of fact, he carries a 14 2/3 innings scoreless streak into tonight's start. Our Golden Oak lending keys to the game.
I'm going to show you. Steady Eddie go deep again. He's gone 6 innings in his last 6 starts. They need that. They need some depth to bridge that to that bullpen. Rake Jake. They've been doing it. 7.11 ERA in his career against the Royals. So keep raking him.
And at one time he was with the Royals. They got him in the Zach Greinke deal along with Kane and Escobar. Jeremy Jeffress also in that deal. And there's a good off-speed pitch, swung on and missed, and Odorizzi has his first strikeout of the night.
Yep, that's the split finger changeup combination, and he saved that pitch until he needed it. Struck him out. The Rays defense, Evan Longoria, he's been a magnet. He's got a magnet in his glove for that ball. He's very solid. He's out there working every day with a lot smaller glove. He uses a smaller glove to practice with. That means it leaves no room for error. He's really a polished third baseman.
All-American at Long Beach State, which has produced a lot of major league talent. Jason Giambi, Jared Weaver, Troy Tulowitzki, so many more. Here is Lorenzo Cain. Lorenzo 2 hits last night.
Swinging the bat a lot better, with more confidence. He's taking full rips. He looks really aggressive.
Jake was acquired by the Rays in the James Shields Wade Davis deal, along with Mike Montgomery and Will Myers, a couple of minor leaguers, but Odorizzi was able to make the rotation that next year. 5 wins, 5 losses this year.
All right, showed you Longoria earlier, and we'll show you him later.
Right now, Tim Beckham with the catch, and we'll see Velquez after this commercial break.
All righty, come on, Steady. Keep her down. Velquez taking the mound here. Watch Longoria letting Jershely play here. He's saying, all right, can you show me? He didn't even get his hands on it. Jersh belly bumped it right back to him. What a beautiful thing. Jersh has been getting picked on this whole series. If it's not Salvi or Gordo or somebody blowing him off over there on a high five, it's Longoria messing with him. I love it.
Well, everybody loves Mike Jershely. And here are the Tampa Bay Rays in their lineup. Forsythe, very hot last night. Hit 3 hits. Kevin Kiermaier had a couple of hits on base 3 times. Keep these guys off the scoreboard. We showed you in our open that the Royals are 36-15 scoring first. Well, the opponents are 40-15 when they score first.
Edison Volquez is toeing the slab with confidence. 5 starts against the Rays. He's 3-0 with a 2.25. That's a beautiful thing. Opponent's only hitting just over 200. He's got 3 nice pitches. But you know, one issue for him is that first inning's been difficult for him this year.
Forsythe stays hot. All 3 of his hits line drives yesterday, and he's going for 2. And he will make it safely with a double.
Rays on the attack early. Forsythe, he's been aggressive in the series. Picks on that fastball that didn't stay down. It was up out over the middle of the plate. That's what I was talking about. 19 runs allowed in the first inning and 22 starts. That's for a 7.36 ERA. 3 he gave up in the first inning in his last start against Texas. So really try to get on the beam early, and you know it's difficult for guys to find their pitches and which ones work in that first inning. So it's good to be aggressive against guys like that.
He gave up a home run to Odor in the first inning against Texas, and then one later in the 5th inning, 6th inning, I beg your pardon, to Jurickson Profar. Kiermaier.
There you go. There's those 3 pitches. He likes to use that 2-seam fastball. That adds a little bit of sinking action to it, away to lefties, into righties. Curveball straight over the top, and a changeup. It's been very effective for him. Equalizer. Good little backdoor curve there. But you know what's been good too is Volquez in his last 5 starts, he's only given up a .211 average with runners in scoring position. So he's bared down. He's really executed his pitches. And here we are, just the 2nd hitter of the game. There's a runner in scoring position.
And that's what he did last year against Tampa Bay. Beat them twice. They were 0 for 13 against Volquez. And they have not done well with runners in scoring position this entire series. Just 1 for 18.
Royals pitching has been dominant against the Rays.
Danny Duffy allowed just 1 hit. And a fantastic 3-0 victory on Monday with a Royals record 16 strikeouts.
Kiermaier's going to do all he can to pull that ball to get the runner over. Forsythe. Kiermaier got promoted to that 2nd spot. He's got good speed. Kevin Cash wants him to be a catalyst at the top of the order. He's a guy who's normally been hitting 6th and 7th in their order until just after the break. They promoted him.
Yeah, he hasn't been completely healthy and came off the disabled list. Was really quiet, 6 for 47, but on base his last 3 times last night, including a couple of hits. Sharply to left field. Forsythe had to hold, and he will be held now at 3rd base, so 1st and 3rd with nobody out.
Got him a pitch up, and he drove to the opposite field. He said, forget about getting him over. I'm going to try to get him over and in. That's 2 fastballs now that have been crushed that Edison has left up, and they haven't missed it.
Now Evan Longoria, who's been very quiet in this series, 0 for 7 with 4 strikeouts. His average at .281. He is their power threat. hits this one sharply to right field, but cut off by Lorenzo Cain. Forsythe will tag and come home. 1-0 Rays.
Rays aren't messing around. They're tagging that fastball. So like we talked about, the first inning struggles continue with Volquez, but they're just fastballs down the middle, and that's what he's had issues with most of the season in the first inning. Longoria says, you know what, I'm going to get that first good fastball I can see and drive it. Knocked in his 59th run. It's a good play by Lorenzo Cain to get in there and catch that sinking liner.
Royals with Orlando in center field, Cain in right. We're expecting to see the Royals debut of Billy Burns tomorrow night. From what Ned Yost told us before the contest, that Lorenzo, he wants to rest that hamstring on this turf. So in the noon game tomorrow local time, 11 back in Kansas City, likely be Burns in center and Orlando in right against the lefty Smiley.
Edison wanted that. That's where he wants that fastball. If it's going to be over the plate, it's got to be down below the knees. Didn't get the call. That's a good spot too. He wanted it. You see how he kind of just stood there. Now he didn't show up the umpire, but that's a body language.
If he can keep it down, he could get a double play. He's induced 12 this year. Mondesi, though, playing the left-hander to pull, and Escobar very close to second base bag. Hosmer will go to first, and they don't get the guy there. So 2 on with 1 out.
Tester, Haas had the play in front of him, but he bobbled it. By the time he turned to throw to Volquez, there's no way. Miller with good speed outran him. Haas came and got it. As you can see, he couldn't quite get it out of his glove, and that's exactly what happened.
Rex, should he have let Mondesi take this?
Well, you know, that's a play instinctively Hosmer's going to go get, and for him, he can get the lead runner that way, and that was his idea, but you know, couldn't get it out of his glove. It happens.
Now Steven Souza, strike 1.
That's the way to mix up those first pitches. If you can throw first pitch strikes with your secondary pitches, you're going to keep a lot of hitters off balance and out of production, because they're looking heater early.
Here is our forward defense.
There's the Royals defense, sponsored by Ford. Salvador Perez, he's been a beast. You can't run on Salvi. Better make sure you get a good jump. He's nailed 6 out of the last 10 base stealers. Royals are plus 24 in defensive runs saved. That 3rd best in the American League. Behind the Astros, and now the Blue Jays have crept in there. Saving those runs defensively really saved the pitcher's pitch count as well.
The Blue Jays will be coming to the K this weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Come on out to the ballpark. Great fireworks show for you this Friday, and then a 6:15 start on Saturday, and a day game on Sunday. It's a family fun day.
And that's Cornhusker Day too. Or not Saturday. Sorry, my bad.
Kiermaier, good speed, 9 steals.
Souza, if he cooperates and hits a ground ball, he's tough to double. He's got good speed. He's been grounded into 4 this year.
Royals have shifted their middle infield defense to the left, with Mondesi the cover guy at second base. was spending a lot of time worrying about Kiermaier at second base rather than Souza, who he had down 0-2.
Well, you've got to credit Kiermaier for that. Stirring it up. He knows he can run, but he's jockeying around out there and getting Volquez's attention. And sure enough, Volquez, he flinched. When you're in the set position, you got to go home directly. If you're the Rays and you've been struggling against the Royals all year long, this first inning here, they really want to put the pressure on Volquez here. They have a chance, lousy single, to get him a little cushion.
KC has won all 5 this year and 12 of their last 13 against the Rays. Just barely off the corner.
Royals pitching has dealt them just a little bit over a 2 ERA. So they've been pitching the Rays tough.
As we take a look at our Academy leaderboard, it'll show you the numbers that you were talking about, Hud.
Mm.
15 stolen bases to just 3, 77 to 40 in runs scored, and they've outscored the Rays this year 28 to 12. Hit well down that left field line, hooking, and it is a fair ball. A 3-run home run for Steven Souza, his first homer since June 4th.
So the Rays score first, and they hit a homer. Something that the Royals pitchers have done a good job of the last 2 games. Haven't given up a home run. And there it is. More first inning issues for Edison Volquez.
Now Corey Dickerson. And he lines it sharply, but one hopping it is Edinson. Excuse me, Alcides Escobar, and he'll throw out Dickerson for the second out. Volquez had that one awful inning against the Houston Astros back on June 24th, where he gave up 12 runs in 1+ inning. But since that time, he's been pretty solid. A 3.58 ERA until today, where he's given up a double, a single, a sac fly, a single, and then the 3-run home run to go down 4-0. 7th man to bat in the inning, Franklin. Struck well. Kane leaps at the wall. It's off the wall. And racing to third is Nick Franklin. He'll make it with a triple. So they have hit Eddie for the cycle in the first inning.
Locane ran out of room. He tracked it. He was right on it, except when he went to reach up for it. He couldn't glove it. It's just over his head. Good effort.
Franklin at third. Tim Beckham the batter. 0 for 4 in this series with 3 strikeouts. All three of them against Monday starter Danny Duffy. Strike one.
Making Edison work. There's too many pitches out over the middle of the plate. Tough for the Royals. They come from behind, but they can do it. They just have to score more than they've been used to scoring. They've been scoring 3 runs per game.
Danny Duffy talked about how comfortable the mound was for him on Monday, that here in the Tampa Bay area indoor facility they can really maintain that mound and take care of it. Sometimes other facilities will be baked by the sun or too much rain before they get the tarp off.
The Royals offense, they'll be forced to score more than 4 runs in this one if they want to come back for it. The last time they scored over 4 runs was July 27 against the Angels at home. They scored 7 runs. It was 7 days ago.
Yeah, 20 times since July 1st the Royals have scored 3 runs or less. Both of their wins in this series, they've scored only 3 runs. 3-0 and 3-2 victories. Should be the final out. Mondesi does throw at Beckham, but Steven Souza with a 3-run home run. The Royals at Volquez down 4-0.
Clean up on aisle 9.
By Thoroughbred Ford. Ready for a great deal on a new Ford? Then it's time to go to Thoroughbred Ford. How about that pirate ship?
That's right. Yeah. And hopefully he'll settle in. Typically he does after he has rough innings. Defense didn't help him.
They're going to have to get a guy who has now thrown 15 2/3 innings of scoreless baseball. Been outstanding since the break. Showed good command in the first inning. Zips a fastball at 91 by Hosmer. Eric had his first multi-hit game since July 18th last night with a couple of singles. Time it looked like Jake wanted to come inside, left it away, and Hosmer a little late with his swing.
It's the idea though. He wants to go that way. Watch him come inside. Or with 2 strikes, well, he's going to save that split finger changeup for runners in scoring position. Just elevated on him, stayed up there.
Foul tips it into the glove of Casale. That's the 2nd strikeout for Odorizzi.
Stay up in that zone above the belt, and then he'll drop the split finger change on him. So he uses that high and lowest parts of the zone, teasing the hitters.
Kendrys Morales. He had the big home run on Monday that gave the Royals a 1-0 lead with Duffy in a great duel with Chris Archer. The Royals would score 2 more in the 8th.
There's that curveball. He likes to use the curveball first pitch to lefties just to get me over. And then sometimes he'll double up with it. Doesn't have a huge break to it, but it is a difference in speed. Change, which is, there it is. There's that other one. Split finger changeup. See how it goes away to lefties. So he can be tough on those lefties. Down and out of the zone. Sinking action.
He comes up with the fastball. Boy, he has a real good idea. I mean, they always talk about the areas to pitch. Hard in, soft away. He went with a fastball away, and Kendrys stays alive at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Man, the fans had a tough time making a catch on that one. Pulls it to the right side, fielded by Forsythe, and there's 2 outs.
Nothing goes better with summer than fireworks in Royals baseball on a Friday night in Kansas City. Summer Fireworks is presented by Hy-Vee and Pepsi. It takes place after every Friday night home game this season through August. There are only 2 summer fireworks left, so go visit theroyals.com or call 1-800-6-ROYALS today to get your tickets to the next show out at the K.
Salvador Perez, he had the big home run in that 7th inning last night. The Royals were down by 1. His 2-run blast gave them the 3-2 lead, and they would hold on. That was his 7th home run in the 7th inning or later, and 3 have given the Royals the lead. So he's been pretty clutch this year. And he gets a base hit here. First base runner for the Royals comes with 2 out.
Oh man, I'm telling you, they got them all shifted over. They're pulling the defense this way, but then Salvi says, you know what, I don't care, I'm gonna line one right there, I'm gonna pick a spot and hit it.
He followed your blue line.
That's right, right on it.
Alex Gordon hitting .203. Strike 1.
Tim Beckham playing first base for just the 2nd time this year. He's started 44 games, 33 starts, 15 at shortstop, 13 at second, 3 at third. This guy's a super utility type player. Play all over the place. He looked a little bit uncommitted to that ball. He wanted to get it, then he went back on that ball that Morales hit. But it's going to take some adjustment over there playing first base if you're not used to it. You're in on every single play.
He was drafted as a shortstop. Darn good one. First overall player taken in 2008 out of Griffin, Georgia. Took him a while to get to the big leagues. On the hands of Gordon, fouled off. Full count.
Alex 3 for 7 with a homer off Odorizzi.
Pulled to the right side. Beckham will take it. And the Royals are done in the second. Ricky. Oh, yep. And then you'll probably wipe it off on Mom's shirt.
That's right.
Volquez with a rough first inning, faced 8 batters, gave up 4 runs. Big hit was Steven Souza's 3-run home run. Now Casale to open the bottom of the second. Number 9 batter. Had a hard time this year, batting just .169. He'll run into one occasionally. 7 home runs, including 1 in the Rays series at Kauffman Stadium. But all 3 were Royal victories. Popped him up. Perez will make the catch and 1 out. Just a reminder, as you enjoy a cold one, look forward to Miller Time later in tonight's game, brought to you by Miller Lite. Back to the top of the order in Forsythe. Logan has a history of being a streaky hitter, and boy, the last 2 games he has shown that. 4 hits, all of them line shots. Strike 1. He hails from Memphis, Tennessee. Played at the University of Arkansas. Base hit center field, so Forsythe stays hot. That's 5 hits now in the last 2 games.
Yeah, no, he's feasting on those fastballs, showing some short swings with quick hands. He's got a little Paul Orlando in him. Yeah, he's keeping both hands on the bat and staying in the middle. Good inside out swing.
Now the left-handed swinging Kiermaier, who lined a single to left field and then would later score in the 3-run home run by Souza. That's it sharply. Hosmer has it. Escobar gets it back to him. And that is a nifty 3-6-3 inning ending double play.
Great play, Haas. Way to get rid of it. That's some written troll right there. Get rid of it with some petrol on it. Nice.
Artwork we're seeing on buildings here in downtown St. Pete. For my 13th birthday, I want to meet Salvi. Hopefully you can. The Royals come back and Salvi has a splash at the end.
Salvi would like to meet him too.
Here's Paulo Orlando. Sends that one to right field, and a diving attempt by the right fielder. Hope he's okay. Oh my goodness. Steven Souza.
That's not working.
Who just came off the disabled list.
That's not working right there. Now that ball was plenty foul, like the effort, but glad to see him bounce up. And he kind of banged up his shoulder. This ball was going to be foul. He had a beat on it. Thought he could catch it. And it was when he hit that wall. You know, he dove right on his chest. That's how you want to dive, keep it away from your shoulder injury. But man, when that wall comes into play, you never know what's going to happen then. But at least he's okay and he's back out there. Like the effort.
They need him healthy. We told you he's just coming off of an injury to his left hip. And Souza provides some much needed power to this Rays lineup, as we saw in that first inning. Orlando 4 hits in this series, 2 of them doubles. Only has 2 home runs, but he has excellent power. We saw that a tremendous blast off a great pitcher, Cole Hamels, in Texas, hit it over 420 feet. He wants to keep that bat in the zone as long as possible, he told me. Just interested, hitting it back of the middle. A little bit high.
No, really, when you have that approach, it keeps your swing simple and short. And keeps you from pulling your head and trying to hit one in the seats.
Swings at the changeup and misses. That's 3 strikeouts for Odorizzi. Time now for our University of Kansas Hospital injury report. Danny Salazar on the disabled list. The Royals have seen him twice and he has been electric, but placed on the DL because of right elbow inflammation. Only lasted 2 innings in that start against Minnesota, and the Twins have knocked off Cleveland the last 2. Max Kepler, how about his games? Oh my goodness,
he's hot.
He had 3 2-run home runs the other day.
Yep. Salazar, you know, his ERA he's been struggling lately, and so they figured out that he was having some discomfort in that elbow, but his ERA had been climbing the last few games.
And Cleveland losing tonight to Minnesota 3-0 in the second. The Royals started the day 10 games back of the Tribe, 7.5 games back of the wild card. The 2 leaders in the American League are Toronto and Boston in the wild card. Mondesi pulls it to the right side. Forsythe will throw him out.
Watching Tim Beckham, he wants that ball. He's at first base, and you know, it's just for the second start this year, he took 2 steps to try to catch that ball. So he's an infielder, you know, shortstop, third baseman, but you know, that's a routine out right there. So it's gonna take him a few innings here to kind of just calm down a little bit. Just really, it's a game of catch, but if it's not hit right at you, just let the second baseman take it.
Escobar grounded out on the first pitch he saw in the first inning to third. Now takes the first pitch from Jake Odorizzi. Goes after the curve and hits it to Franklin. Catch is made, a 1-2-3 third for the Tampa Bay starter. For 4-0, the Rays have the lead over the Royals. We'll get you to Joel Goldberg in just a second, as the batter will be Evan Longoria here in the bottom half of the third inning. walked in his 59th run with a sacrifice fly his first time up. Foul back. There has been some talk, though, Rex, about opening up the Tampa market and having them build a stadium on the other side of the bay. There's greater populations rather than making that long trek on the bridge.
But there was an article in the paper when we got here a couple days ago.
Yep, read it.
Talked about how they found a spot off the water. It's a possible spot, 1 of 10. They're looking
Yeah.
all over the bay. It's a mess. It's not as bad as Oakland's situation, though.
Well, we have the time. Let's go to Joel.
Well, guys, pretty neat story that happened last night and actually all series long. The third base umpire's name is Carlos Torres. He bounces between the minor leagues and the big leagues, and he hadn't seen his kids since February. And of course, umpires are on the road all the time, but they'll get home for a little bit of vacation. But in the case of Carlos, he's from Venezuela, the second ever umpire in the big leagues from Venezuela, and his kids, his 2 sons and his stepson, are here for this series. They don't speak a lot of English, but they were here on the field and up in the crowd yesterday, and they hadn't been to the States to see their father. He had not seen them guys since February. They were at Instant Replay last week and took them all around New York, Times Square, Statue of Liberty. They came to the game last night to watch their dad behind home plate, and then took them to Disney World today. He said his youngest, who was 4, fell asleep towards the end of the game, so guess that wasn't so exciting. I think we might have all slept on this one or didn't see it. Torres actually threw out Kendrys Morales last night. Not sure what that was about, but maybe that's the only negative of the night.
And the Royals have won the first 2 games of this series by scores of 3-0 and 3-2. Carlos working with the veteran Jerry Davis, his crew chief, along with Rob Drake, who's behind home plate, and Sam Holbrook at first tonight. That ball struck pretty well. Center field. Orlando will not be able to get there, and Brad Miller has belted his 18th home run of the season.
I don't know where Miller has gotten that kind of pop, but man, that ball was hit on the line, opposite field. He's turning into a power hitter. Good, easy, short, compact stroke. Volquez knew maybe before Miller did.
So 5-0 Tampa Bay. They're taking out their pain on Kansas City after the Royals had knocked them around, winning 12 of the last 13 against the Rays. Steven Souza belted a 3-run home run his last time up.
I never thought that Miller would develop into a power hitter. See him load those hips. That's something he never really has done before, but a good, easy swing. I'll tell you that a home run is a byproduct of an easy swing. That's all there is. He wasn't trying to do that. He just caught the ball right. And there's no feeling in the bat at all when you hit a ball like that. It's a great feel, but you barely even feel it.
Yeah, we asked Paulo about that bomb that he hit off Hamels in Texas, which went all the way to the back row in Arlington. And that's what he told us the next day. I didn't feel a thing. I just swung the bat. But that's when you square it up so perfectly. And now Souza gets his 2nd hit.
Show Miller swinging again how easy. Yeah, it just looked like he's placing that ball to left field. He ends up carrying left center to the deepest part of their yard. And you can tell that the Rays have their horns out tonight. They're not real happy. They are aggressive, swinging early in counts, and they're not missing.
They had played so well before this series, winning 4 straight games. Runner goes, Sal's throw, and safe. Wow. Souza with his 6th steal. The Royals may check this one out.
Sure was a nice throw by Salvi. It stayed down low. Looked to me like Escobar missed the tag, but it was The ball beat him there. Let's see. Perfect spot.
Oh, man. I think the Royals are going to challenge this one.
Yeah.
Souza might be out.
Look at this throw. That's right where you want it. Eski's got to get that tag on it.
Well, he did. That's what I can't understand. We could see the sleeve of the leg, you know, where he got the tag. I think this is going to be overturned. I was completely expecting Jerry Davis to ring him up. Opponents have only stolen 31 bases off Kansas City catchers this year, and that's the lowest total in the game.
At that throw. You can't make a better throw than that. Eski should have gotten him right there.
Look at the sleeve. He got him.
Let's see.
Right there, up the leg. You can see the movement of the pant leg.
Well, hopefully the umpires in New York can, and they did.
Yeah.
Yeah, Salvi, go ahead, bud. Stay hot. I told you before the game, you can't steal a base. Look at Ned. Ned's saying, really?
Salvi has thrown out 51%. Or Royal catchers, I should say, have thrown out 51%. He and Drew combined. Salvi right at 50, I believe, now with that toss out.
7 of the last 11. Can't run on him. What an excellent placement of that ball.
Dickerson lined it sharply, but Escobar one-hopped it, threw him out. There you go, 24 for 48.
30% is good.
Yeah, 50% awesome.
It's off the charts. Pitchers are helping him. He'll tell you that. Salvi will. Rays
Sugo, he's going, I thought I was out, but I was going to stay there. They're calling me safe. Cuthbert will chase it, but it's beyond his reach. Apparently Corey Dickerson, he's a little OCD about his bats and his gloves. Everything's perfect. After every single game, he'll take a bottle of rubbing alcohol, put it on a rag, wipe it just to make sure where the fouled the ball off, where he struck it. Is he hitting the sweet part of the bat?
Yeah, you know, these guys are pretty particular about their lumber.
And that is outside ball 4. So Volquez continues to labor here as he's allowed 8 hits and not even 3 innings and 5 runs, 2 home runs. Nick Franklin tripled his last time up off the right field wall. They're moving Franklin around, almost like making him into a Ben Zobrist type player. He has started at first base twice in this series and in left field tonight, but he can also play infield spots, all 4. I understand Brad Miller was not happy that they're going to move him from shortstop once Matt Duffy becomes healthy. Duffy was acquired from the San Francisco Giants for the trade deadline. Very good defender, but on the DL with an Achilles injury, and Miller's been very capable at short, only erring 13 times. He said, I put all the work in, done everything they asked. Hit sharply to right field. Around second to third goes Dickerson. First and third with 2 out. Man, they're squaring the ball up.
I'm telling you, they're not missing.
None.
You know, lots of times you're going to pop up or you might hit the top of the ball, but the Rays tonight have everything going. They're on every one of Volquez's mistakes that are out over the plate. Now Hosmer, that ball was hit so hard it went right through him. It was tough, that little last hop there that got him. It's like a changeup. It threw him off. Look at this now. He's ready. He's in good fielding position there, but He just came up on it. That ball was hit hard. Ate him up.
Volquez has gone at least 6 innings in each and every start since that demolition derby on June 24th against Houston. But he's already thrown 58 pitches, and we showed you Ned Yost in that Royals dugout. He needs Volquez to give him depth because the Royals bringing up Billy Burns, an outfielder, and sending down a relief pitcher in Brooks Pounders. So they're only carrying 7 relievers, and they used 4 of them last night, or 3 of them I should say. Chris Young, 4, Matt Strom, Joaquim Soria, and Kelvin Herrera, 4 relievers last night. Pulled to the left side, fielded by Escobar. They do get the forced no more run score for the Rays. They do get 1 in the Miller home run. 5-0 Tampa Bay. early. 4 runs in the first with the highlight Souza's home run, and then the solo shot by Brad Miller, his 18th this year and 17 as a shortstop, and that's a Rays record. Here is Cuthbert. But Rizzi, meantime, has been brilliant, allowing just 1 hit in his 3 innings. Fouled off. Tell you, his pace has been really good. Just basically get the ball, get the sign, throw.
Yeah, you know what? He's in a groove. He's keeping his defense on their toes, and well, he's been dealing, like you said, since the last 2 starts. He hasn't given up an earned run.
And he must have late life on that fastball, because he's getting away with a lot at 91. Not like he's throwing 95, 96.
No, he's got some good finger pressure on a little 2-seamer. He's got, what, 4 and 2-seamer. The 2-seamer, you can see the movement even from up here, and thankfully we're up here and not where Chesler is. It's hard to hit, Fizz.
You got that right.
I'm telling you.
Tough business. Struck out Cuthbert in the first. But sharply foul. And that got in the stands in a hurry. Well, he's seen 16 pitches, making Odorizzi work. And then lines out to Evan Longoria. Quality at bat, but 1 out. Our Terminia Mazda game break. Cubs rally for 3 in the 9th and win it on this A.J. Ramos wild pitch. What a win for Joe Maddon and the Cubs. And the Marlins are one of the wild card leaders coming into the day, along with the Dodgers. St. Louis a half game back. Here's Kane. Popped up to first his first time up. It's time for our sprint trivia. Name the only player to record his 3,000th hit at Wrigley Field. That's why they had the highlight of the Cubs victory against the Marlins. That ball popped up right side. Souza moves to his left and makes the catch. 2 out.
He didn't get his 3,000 hit though, did he? Ichiro today?
That's a very good question because he was at 2,999.
Maybe he did.
He's at 2,998. I beg your pardon.
2 hits away. Yeah, that's what I thought. That would have been news. How far back do we got to go for that 3,000 hit at Wrigley? Can we get a hint?
Eric Hosmer struck out for his first time up.
Okay. All right. We got a clue that it happened in the 50s.
What's Stan the Man?
Good guess.
Foul back. Hosmer trying to find that groove. He was over 300. Averages dipped under 280. Hitting just 179 since the All-Star break starting this game. And he will walk. A 2-out walk to Hosmer. You got it?
Nope.
Morales grounded out sharply to second base. But each time he has done that, hitting it sharply, that second baseman is in perfect position. And now the shortstop, who is over on the second base side, Miller, comes in to throw out Morales. 4 innings of shutout baseball by Odorizzi tonight. Here with the Trop and our T-Mobile greater coverage of the game. Well, how about what Max Kepler's been doing lately? He leads baseball with 14 home runs and 39 driven in since June 19th. He's hit 4 home runs his last 2 games. The Tigers, they've won a season high 7 straight to crawl within 3 games of first place Cleveland. Steve Cishek, well, he should be removed as the Mariners closer after blowing a major league high 6 saves. Kurt Casale will lead things off against Volquez.
Close game against us.
Yep. He had trouble with the Marlins in that closing role.
Kepler hadn't homered tonight, but Minnesota's up 6-2 on Cleveland.
All of a sudden Minnesota has come alive. They had that dreadful start this year, and after so many had expected them to do well, some even picked them to win the Central. Just didn't see it with their rotation. The ball is popped foul back and out of play. Right there, perfectly located fastball at 94 miles an hour. And you know, fans, the Royals are excited to host our 2nd annual Yogis in the Outfield on Sunday, September 4th. Prior to the game, join yoga instructors from Core Movements for an early morning 1-hour yoga session on the ballpark outfield grass with a Royals yoga mat, followed by a light breakfast. To participate in this unique event, purchase your theme ticket package now at royals.com/theme tickets.
Yeah, I don't know how advanced you are, Fizz, but that's not in my league.
Nope, not in mine either.
Out of that. Stretching, though, is important.
But I understand one of the instructors is going to come from the Glass family.
Sweet.
So I'll be there with Namastacy. Cuthbert. 2 outs. You're into that hot yoga, so it needs to be like 900 degrees for you to.
No, only 105 to 110.
That's way too many. I'm more into the traditional.
That's okay. To each his own, as long as you're stretching and breathing properly.
You know, it's a work in, not a workout.
That's right.
Rays lead at 5-0. They scored 4 times in the first and 1 in the third. Kiermaier on once, singled, and last time up hit into a 3-6-3 double play. His next pitch will be his 70th already. Right now, just trying to compete so Ned doesn't have to go to the bullpen too early. Kiermaier, a favorable count, fastball count. Off the corner, ball 4. second walk by Volquez. Longoria with a sacrifice fly and strikeout. Runner goes, pitch taken, throw by Sal, skips to second. Safe is Kevin Kiermaier with his 10th steal.
Yep, Salvi says, I'm not even getting to my feet here. I'm just going to go from one knee. Middle infielders prefer it one hopped or down low. Anywhere they can get the tag on it. Nice pick by Mondesi. Quick release, but a great jump by Kiermaier.
Rays, not normally an aggressive running team, have attempted 2 stolen bases and been successful once. That was just their 38th steal this year. They're 12th among the 15 American League teams.
They got a lot of power in their lineup.
Yeah, why not? They've now hit 136 home runs.
Yeah, so you're not going to waste opportunities for getting thrown out.
Cuthbert has it. A shutout inning for Volquez, and when we come back, Salvador Perez will be leading things off. A play. Don't let work get in the way of watching the Royals, fans. You can watch tomorrow's early start against the Rays on your phone, tablet, or computer if you're away from your TV and can't see it on Fox Sports Kansas City. Get the free Fox Sports Go app or watch at foxsportsgo.com and stream the Royals wherever you go. Salvi swings and skies it in the air left side. May have made it over the B ring. If it hits the B ring, the ball is in play. And tomorrow's starting pitchers, Ian Kennedy will throw for KC. Drew Smiley, with a dreadful record at 3-11, but pitched very well in beating the Yankees his last start. Look at his walks to strikeout, pretty good. I thought Ian was outstanding in his last start against the Texas Rangers.
Yeah, he's good. You know, the Royals have a chance to win a series. It's been a long time.
Yeah, since they swept the Cardinals was the last time they won a series, back on June 29th and 30th. That was that 2-game sweep at Busch, but they are 0-7-1 in series since. Gordon grounded out to first, his first time up.
He gets ahead of hitters. He makes it tough on them. That split finger changeup combination he's using really has some dip and dive.
And as soon as they got to 2 strikes, they really went with the dramatic shift on the infield, 3 on the right side, and Longoria over where the shortstop normally would play. He went. 4 strikeouts for Jake.
See how he's staying out of the zone.
Number 16,
All 4 swinging. Royals have really had a difficult time squaring him up. Best struck ball was really Chesler Cuthbert's line out to start the 4th inning.
He's been staying out of the middle. It's the whole key to successful pitching.
Even when he hits a lot of the plate, they're spinning it back to the screen or fouling it off to the left or right.
They're missing, and the Rays aren't.
He really has become one of their top pitchers. I mean, 14 times this year, Hud, he's allowed 2 or fewer runs in a game. That is outstanding work.
He's found himself. He's simplified his delivery.
Great star out of Highland, Illinois High School, an All-American. 14-0 as a All-American and senior. 0.8 ERA in high school. How about that? Gave up 1 earned run in almost 90 innings.
No, that's what it takes. You know, if you're one of the best at that level, you're going to get a chance to play further. All starts there, but Paul will take the walk.
number 27.
Second time the Royals have received a 2-out walk, and Odorizzi doesn't walk very many. Matter of fact, when he walked Eric Hosmer in the 4th, that ended a streak of 18 2/3 innings where he had not walked a batter. Now Mondesi, ball 1. Raul told me he started switch hitting at the age of 7. I told you his father Raul was an outstanding outfielder in the big leagues for 13 years, and Raul said, yeah, he told me that curveballs can be pretty tough. So he started him switch hitting early. Try to bunt his way on.
It's the one to bunt, the split finger that moves down. That one stayed up. Odorizzi, you watch him, see how he puts that grip, that split finger grip right behind his back. And the reason he starts that way so he didn't have to change his glove when he gets in there. Sometimes when you have that wide grip like that, your glove will open up a little further there. You can see Friday night compared to tonight, same grip, using those seams to catch the wind pocket to where it has some movement down. See, watch how this goes right down. That's a perfect pitch, especially after throwing high fastballs in the top of the zone. Get that hitter looking up and then pulls the string on that one. It's a fooler.
That ball gets away from Kurt, and that will get Orlando to second base in scoring position. A single by Mondesi could put the Royals in the scoreboard.
That looks like it bounced. I don't know if that's a wild pitch or a pass ball. I believe they scored at a wild pitch.
That almost was another wild pitch in the dirt, but this time Kurt with a great block.
Hope he's able to shift his body and stay in front of that one. Mondesi, 250 hitter with a runner in scoring position.
That job is like a hockey goalie, constantly under attack. Left an off-speed pitch up.
Talking with Mondesi, asked him about how's he feeling being a part of a big league lineup now, and he says, the fact that I know I'm going to be in the lineup when I come to the ballpark, that's a big thing right there. I'm not wondering, well, I wonder if he's going to play me one day or not. They're just letting him in there and letting him see some big league pitching, and they know he's going to struggle a little bit offensively.
To right field, Souza comes on to make the catch, and Odorizzi with 5 shutout innings, 5-0 Rays over the Royals. And as we take a look at our Panera around the league, Mookie Betts, who hit .368 in July, named the player of the month, and Verlander, a perfect 4-0 with an excellent 1.69 ERA. He has been instrumental in getting the Tigers back in that central hunt.
He's gotten hot.
Daniel Murphy and Steven Strasburg were the winners for player and pitcher of the month in the National League for July. Miller reached in an infield, hit his first time up, and then blasted his 18th home run of the year in the third. Volquez can't get it. Error. Somebody may have put that in, dipped that into a little lemon butter or something.
Well, It hit off the side of the mound. That little slope right there on this bounce here, it kind of messed him up. And if you don't get it the first time with the speedy runner, no chance you're going to get him the second time.
Volquez has been frustrated since inning number 1, when the Rays hit for the cycle in the first with a double, single, home run, and triple. There's the big mistake he made to Souza with 2 strikes on him.
You can tell how strong Souza is. He barely even offered it that. He was off balance even, and he just dropped the head of that bat. The ball jumped.
Souza is 2 for 2 with that home run and single. Strike 1.
We've seen a couple of good easy swings by the Rays today, and that ball off of Souza's bat, that home run, was 101 hit speed. An easy swing. That pitcher, he provides the velocity, and if you just put a good easy swing on it and meet it just right, the ball jumps.
Rays were able to get him from the Washington Nationals organization, and they wanted him because they knew at 6'4", 230 pounds, he would provide power. He was the Nationals' 3rd round pick in the 2007 draft.
You know, and he's a good athlete too. He's got good speed.
1 ball, 2 strikes.
Salvi caught the backswing on that one. See if it gets him on the wrist here, on the back with a bat. It got him right on the top of his finger there. Ouch.
Hit well again. Orlando with that sprinter speed makes a terrific catch, and Miller is back to first base.
Beautiful running catch. On contact, Paulo moved directly to his right and took the perfect route. Took a straight line right to it. He knew there was no chance for Alex to get there, and he made a beautiful running catch. Those are fun plays to make when you have wheels like that. You're in center field. There's no lines to restrict you either side. You just, when it's hit, you go get it. It's a fun position to play.
Two out for Corey Dickerson. Ground out, walk. Rays have lost 2 in a row since a season high tying 4-game win streak, and they played very good baseball since the All-Star break. 8-7 their last 15 games, and a lot of it has to do with their excellent pitching. We're seeing that tonight from Odorizzi, and they popped the Royals starter Volquez for 5 runs.
And the Rays, they turned the New York Yankees from buyers to sellers. They swept them, and that was right before the deadline. And Brian Cashman, the general manager of the New York Yankees, he was able to get up 7 prospects for his organization, and we're going to start a little youth movement there in New York.
Yeah, I was looking at MLB.com today, and they listed the Yankees and the Brewers as the 2 top minor league systems because of all the trades they made and prospects they got. When you trade guys like Chapman and also Andrew Miller, you should get a lot back for it.
Beltre.
Carlos Beltran traded to the Texas Rangers.
Hang out with your friends at the K every Wednesday home game for only $10 with your school ID. Plus, enjoy a happy hour special at the Boulevard Grill concession stand as you listen to live local music on the outfield experience stage before the game. Please visit Royals.com/student night for the full list of bands and for tickets.
Talk about student night, and then the young man is smashing his hand into his head, knocking sense into himself. That ball goes up the middle, and that will score Brad Miller from second base, and Franklin is 3 for 3.
Ball was moving away from him, and he was able to get around on it and hooked it.
Volquez has given up 6 in just 4 2/3 innings. Beckham has been his relief. Twice he's grounded out. Rays in last place at 42 and 63 in the American League East. Last time the Rays finished in last place was 2007. That was the year they lost 96 games.
The next year wasn't too shabby for them.
Nope, they got to the World Series. Joe Madden predicted it. They would lose to the Phillies, but they got there.
Worst to first.
It just seems like they're in constant youth movement. That'll get out of play, and you and I were talking about the ballpark and the article that we read the other day, and we're taking a look at what 10 different sites. But they do need a new facility, and a lot of locals believe it should be on the Tampa side of the bay.
And they had a beautiful ballpark drawn up by the architecture firm for downtown here in St. Petersburg. This was several years ago, and the local residents wanted nothing to do with that. It was taxpayers. They didn't want to pay for it. This dome, it's been here for a long time. I remember when the Cardinals used to train at Al Lang Stadium just down the road from this ballpark here. Over there in that ballpark, that was their spring training home, and this place sat there.
I've been to Al Lang.
Yeah, and it sat empty. And they were waiting. And, in 1995, Seattle Mariners, before they went on that playoff run, they were talking about coming here.
Runner goes, throw to second, safe.
They're stealing on Eddie Volquez tonight. It's high leg kick. The Rays are running, and they're hitting. Way too good a jump. Great throw again.
He strikes out Beckham, but gives up a run. 6-0 Tampa Bay.
Kelvin Herrera, and those two guys helped lead the Royals to victory last night. And what a job that Strom did coming in a one-run game. 2 batters faced, game on the line, and 2 strikeouts in his second big league outing. Just perfect for the lefty, and in front of his mom, his dad, who was celebrating a birthday, his wife, and his brother. And no surprise, guys, that Matt Strom's phone has not stopped. He said he hasn't been able to get through all of the messages. A lot of family, ex-coaches, friends, some numbers he didn't even know who they were. He said that once he gets to the off day on Monday, he'll be able to start returning some more messages. His wife has been helping him with that. And what was really fun, too, for him is that having played his college ball at Neosho, he said a lot of the kids that he played with back in college grew up Royals fans and in the Kansas City area. So a lot of those former teammates will be at Kauffman Stadium, he hopes, this weekend with a chance to catch up and see their buddy Matt pitch. Obviously, he is having the time of his life. He says the last 3 days have felt like one combined. There's been so much going on.
And Joel, it was a great job by you getting down there to interview his parents, his wife. And here's Tim, the dad, who is celebrating his birthday. This big 600, or he's like 240
you
pounds.
You just say that he's 600 years old?
No, he's not 600. Okay. And he was all choked up. He was so filled with emotion he couldn't talk with you. He's so proud, and I'm sure you're the same way watching your son play hockey. How about that catch by Beckham?
Wow, he wanted that one.
Those interviews never get old because you see nothing but pure emotion, and their hearts were still beating when I ran down there to get them. And after they had a moment to take a breath, Fizz and Hud, his dad turned to me and said, I think I left the Rolaids back in the hotel room because the heart was really beating so fast. But truly a special moment for Matt. And let's also be honest here, his 19-year-old brother, his phone hasn't stopped either because he got himself a lot of TV time. And when you're 19 and you're playing ball in college, that's not so bad either. But a lot of fun to see that celebrated last night and to get his first Gatorade bath, his Salvi splash. So it was a very special night for Strom and family.
It's interesting. He told me that it's going to be interesting this Saturday when they have Husker night, because Darren Erstad is going to be down there for Husker night. And from Neosho, he had agreed to become a Nebraska Cornhusker. And Matt told me the toughest phone call he has had to make in his life was to call Darren Erstad, who's also from Fargo, North Dakota, and say, I'm sorry, I'm going to sign a professional contract with the Royals. About that. That's like you and Dan Devine years ago, Hud.
That was a tough phone call. I can agree with Matt on that. That's not easy.
In the 6th inning is our Sonic Slam inning. Our contestant is Wes Wiedermeyer from Lenexa. If the Royals hit a home run in this inning, Wes will win $500. But if the Royals hit a grand slam, Wes, you get $25,000 from Sonic and the Royals.
We'll have to see if we can get Darren Erstad up in the booth. We'll have him talk about that a little bit. What that's like for coaches from that standpoint. But as a player, when you've already signed a letter of intent for a college back in '78, when I signed with Notre Dame, the NCAA had a rule that you lost your scholarship if a kid blew you off like I did. But now they've reinstated it so where you get the scholarship back if a kid blows you off.
Sure.
And so I can identify with him. I was very nervous, but Dan Devine was a class act. He said, I already heard the news, son, and you got to take that opportunity and run with it. You can always come back here.
Fouled off.
Very classy man.
But Matt told me, he said, I wanted to go to Nebraska. I wanted to play for Darren Erstad. But he said the Royals were very aggressive with me, and they made me a great offer. I signed. Now he is in the big leagues. Swung on and missed. Odorizzi has shut out the Royals for 5 2/3 innings.
He's cruising. He's got all of his pitches working. It's fun to watch a guy like that. We watched Duffy, obviously, in his start, how he just went there. But now Odorizzi's got 5 strikeouts already. But everything's working for him, and especially his defenders. His defenders are really busting their tail for him. We saw Souza Jr. down the right field line, run into the wall. Now Beckham making that diving play. The Rays are fired up tonight. You see this right in front of you here. Second start of the season for him at first base. He's doing a nice job.
Nothing is in the middle of the plate. Everything in the corners. Well, and that was in the middle of the plate and squared up by Kane. Just the second hit of the game by the Royals, the other by Salvador Perez, and here comes Hosmer.
First baseman, Eric Hosmer.
Yep, hasn't missed there many times, and hitters don't miss those either very much. Let's see. Nice and short, compact swing.
Eric walked his last time up. One ball, one strike. Rays as a pitching staff, 2.59 ERA since the All-Star break. It's the best in the American League. Likely will be Jake's last inning. Puts counters up. Royals have fouled off a lot of pitches.
He's thrown as many as 116. And that was in June.
Cedeno warming, the guy who was beaten by Perez last night. Well, he's working Eric upstairs with that fastball a lot.
Four seam and cutters. Is back to winding up, you know, with that big leg kick again. See if he uses the two-strike approach here and just goes up on that tippy toe. Helps control his lower half and his upper half. So he's back to bringing that leg up again, and he's in pull mode. A couple of those pitches are inside, though. He's going to take a shot at that hole over there with Kane being held on by Beckham. There's a hole there, and he sees it.
He's gone from a positive count for the pitcher to a full count now. Kane will be running with 2 out. Royals, though, trail by 6. Jake Odorizzi has not allowed a run to an opponent in 20 2/3 innings. Far in St. Pete, Jake Odorizzi, 6 shutout innings. He's now gone 20 2/3 innings of shutout baseball. Brad Miller has scored 3 times and has a couple of hits, including his 18th home run. And there's a base hit to left field. And they continue to knock around Volquez, who's now allowed 11 hits. So his evening is over as he's over the 100 pitch mark, and another outstanding performance. This is the 15th time he's allowed 2 runs or less in a game this year.
Yeah, that's a good sign, getting him out. He was polished tonight.
Logan Forsythe, 2 for 3. We had 18 deals made, Rex, before the trade deadline. But you can still get guys through waivers and pick up quality talent. And some of the names that I read mentioned today are guys like Nick Markakis and Houston Street, even Brian McCann of the Yankees.
Oh, believe me, they're still scanning that waiver wire. They're checking things out, and the trade deadline is passed, but there's still available players, and they'll make deals.
Royals were able to get Johnny Gomes in August last year. Johnny had a lot of success here with this Rays organization. Just barely missed with that fastball. And a lot of times, Rex, it's veterans where scouts or general managers know what the guy's about, what he'll provide. Danny Valencia's name was mentioned. Trevor Plouffe, Rick Hundley.
And you know, they're looking for a jolt for what they can do on the field. But lots of times they're also looking for a veteran that can help lead that clubhouse. Like the Royals, when Dayton picked up Raul Ibanez, you know, made such a big difference, and he was a veteran at the end of his career. They're looking for more than just production.
Raul only hit 1 home run for the Royals, but it won the game. A 1-0 victory against the Oakland A's, and of course his stirring conversation with the team during an important meeting in 2014.
Now, who says you have to bring your glove to the game? Okay, watch this catch here. This was well played and timed perfectly by this gentleman here. A 2-hander, no problem. Line shot off a low Cane's bat. Or excuse me. That's Forsythe. Souvenir.
Yeah, they're a lot better than those guys in Texas. Remember the guys that take it off their forehead?
Thought they were playing soccer.
I mean, back-to-back games.
Yeah.
Feared for their health.
Yeah, nobody wanted a part of that one.
Volquez trying to give his team 6 innings. 30 pitches in the first, gave up 4 runs. And a walk. We might have a pitching change here. Yeah, here comes Ned. With the Tampa Bay Rays leading the Royals 6-0, Chin-Man Wong will be the new pitcher for Kansas City. That's our Chevy call to the pen. Baseball is brought to you by your local Kansas City area Chevy dealers. Visit us for great prices on the all-new 2016 Malibu. By Panera Bread, food as it should be with 24 Kansas City metro locations. And by Academy Sports and Outdoors, right stuff, low price, every day.
That beautiful glass structure right there. That's pretty. That's not too far from the hotel, team hotel. Beautiful spot.
We've seen a lot of Royals fans here at the hotel in the St. Petersburg area. Chin-Man Wong pitching in his 33rd game this year. And that ball knocked foul for strike one. 2 on, nobody out. We're in the 6th. The Rays already leading by 6. Wong last pitched on July 26th when he allowed 6 consecutive Angels to reach in the 9th inning, and 4 of them scored.
Sinker slider.
Inside corner, 0-2.
Kiermaier has already grounded into 1 double play tonight. It'd be hard to get him twice in 1 game.
Single ground out walk for Kevin tonight. Didn't miss by much inside.
Wong, he doesn't do much complaining, but he kind of had to turn his head sideways. That looked like a good pitch there, just off.
Made him move his feet. He keeps pitching Kevin inside. 3 pitches in this duel where he has pounded that inside corner. That time came too far. He's got a very good sinking fastball.
That hitter's going to hit the top half of that ball when he's going right. Not that time.
And gone. 9-0 Rays.
I think the Rays have had enough of the Royals' dominance over them, and they're just coming out tonight, and they are not missing. He looked like he was off balance, but he barreled this one. Man, pretty swing. Stayed right on it. He stuck it. That ball was staying fair, and it would line out of here.
Home runs have hurt the Royals all year long. 145 home runs they've allowed this year, the most in the American League. 3 tonight. Those 3-run homers will hurt you. Tonight, one by Souza, now one by Kiermaier.
Well, we talked about in the open of our show tonight before this game started about how the Royals had back-to-back games where they didn't allow a home run and they scored first and they won games. Now, this will be a tester here.
Escobar has no chance, and Longoria has an infield hit. First hit by Longo in this series.
That's a do or die. It hit the turf and kicked off. There's no chance. Most hops are true on the artificial surface here, but that one, it kicked to the third base side.
So you can close the book on Eddie Volquez. He has pitched very well ever since giving up the nightmarish 1+ inning 12-run disaster to the Houston Astros, an ERA right around 3.5, but 8 runs tonight in 5+ innings. The Royals still looking to get their first out of the 6th. Miller's been on base all 3 times. Single homer, reached in an error, scored all 3. Richie Schaefer's now the pinch runner for Longoria.
Yep, Longoria can get the rest of the day off, or night off, before that day game tomorrow.
Down in the count, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Came up from the Seattle organization. Former 2nd-round pick out of Clemson. Volquez back on the bench.
I never thought that Miller would have that home run potential in him. You know, he's a good spray hitter. You know, he made good contact. The Mariners gave up on him, and now he's found his stroke. And we saw him go opposite field even. I mean, most of them are pull, but you know, he's showing that he can use the whole field for power. He's generates some pretty good bat speed. And you know, it might be a little bit disturbed about him being moved from shortstop with their new acquisition,
Duffy.
I'm sorry, Matt Duffy. And he should be a little bit upset, but you know, something he missed there.
Not going good for Royal pitching tonight.
But you know, he has that bat. He'll find a place to play out there, and you know, it really only ups his stock, Miller. But let's see where he got this one. Oh, that's the shin burger.
Dave Eiling trying to get things straightened out. We told you the Royals have trimmed their bullpen from 8 members in there to 7 when they sent Brooks Pounders back to AAA Omaha and recalled Billy Burns.
Number 20, Steven Souza Jr.
Our sprint trivia question we asked earlier tonight: name the only player to record his 3,000th hit at Wrigley Field.
And it was not a Cub, so but it was in the division. And when you think of that, you got to think of the Cardinals, because they play there an awful lot, and they had a couple of Guys that got over 3,000 hits, Lou Brock and Stan Musial. But Fizz, I'm going with you with your guess. You guess Stan Musial. That's my guess. I'm staying with the hitman.
We have a winner. 1958. Stan the Man did it on May 13th. Quality guy. Had a chance to meet him in St. Louis. Plays a mean harmonica. Now Stan, of course, passed away a couple of years ago. Just a St. Louis icon.
Oh, a national baseball treasure.
And he came up as a pitcher, hurt his arm, and then obviously the great athlete he is became a Hall of Fame outfielder. Souza 2 for 3. The home run in the first, the single in the third. Flied out to deep left center field where Orlando made a terrific catch, racing in the left center gap. Runners first and second, nobody out, and 3 in.
Dave Island was telling me before the game they were really counting on Volquez tonight to try to get as many innings as he could because of what you mentioned about pounders being sent out. Now it's up to somebody else to pick them up.
Long has not gotten a man out. We saw this against the Angels. And Royals fans experience a night of the undead at Kauffman Stadium August 19th when the Royals take on the Twins for Zombie Night. Come dressed in your best family-friendly zombie attire and makeup, or wait to get your face painted at the K. Those who purchase the theme ticket package will receive a one-of-a-kind Royals zombie figurine. Look at that little girl.
Wow. Popular night. Ooh, man, look at him.
Oh, man.
They're all zombied out.
I don't know what it is that. How about that guy?
They're all excited.
Did make the Chiefs who he's coming out of the Royals wearing a football helmet. Well, you know what? He's not going to have what happened in Texas.
Yeah, no.
He's ready.
He is set. He's all protected. That's interesting. Royals fans are all over the house. And look at them. They're fired up. Front row.
Big bow on her head. Brother with a football helmet. We got to get him for Zombie Night. Corey Dickerson on once with a walk. 14 hits for the Rays. Royal pitching has not had one clean inning. Rays with 4 in the first, 1 in the third, 1 in the fifth, and 3 so far in the sixth, and they have the bases loaded. Brian Flynn is starting to throw in the Kansas City pen. Wong has thrown 22 pitches and has not been able to record an out. Flynn trying to warm up as quickly as possible. You know, I don't see that super sink we saw early in the year from Chin Ming on that sinker.
He's having a hard time getting it down, isn't he? He's just leaving it in the middle. Right there was one.
Throws it away.
And he basically he threw to the wrong base. Bases were full. Salvi wanted the ball back to him. I don't think he. I just think he forgot the situation there. Bases loaded. That's a comebacker. You always got to know what you're going to do with the ball, whether you're a fielder or a pitcher. And this was a routine. Look at Salvi. Salvi's ready for it right there. And then he can't even get an out. That hurt. This will not be on the Royals highlight reel.
Hosmer comes home, gets the force there.
Okay, Haas is way deep, but he's gifted with a tremendous throwing arm. Flat-footed, threw a strike to Salvi.
Beckham is the one guy who is yet to reach for the Rays. 0 for 3. Strike one. Rays have sent 9 men to the plate in this 6th inning. Mondesi, 1. They will not get Beckham, and a run scores to make it 11-0. So the Rays batting around here in the rough 6th inning for the Royals. Blowing out Kansas City tonight 11-0. Hosmer makes the play. The inning is finally over. Volquez winds up giving up 8 runs and 5+ tonight.
Petersburg, there's the newest Royal, expected to make his first start tomorrow, Billy Burns. He's about ready to come in and pinch hit, and had a chance to talk to Rusty Kuntz about him before the game. Already a big fan.
he is a baseball rat. You know, and Mitch Meyer said it perfect because Mitch had him a couple of days in Omaha. The guy's a sponge. He wants to learn all the information that he can get, and he wants to become a better player. And yeah, he proved that today. We went over some things and great questions. You know, a lot of energy in that body and a willingness to learn and get better.
Rusty Kuntz, the base running, bunting, and outfield coach, and that when you hear the description and you think about a speed guy, a defender, a student of the game, that is a Rusty Kuntz guy.
And I think finding a good leadoff guy is one of the most difficult things to do in baseball.
Well, he tore up the Royals, that's for sure, and that opened up their eyes, and they're saying, you know, we like him. I mean, he hit the ball all over the ballpark. That was in a game last season. He's utilizing that speed, keeping the ball out of the air. Looks like he's going to get an opportunity here tonight.
And likely be in the starting lineup tomorrow. That's what we were told by Ned Yost. They'll try and give Lorenzo Cain some time off this rough turf, coming back from that left hamstring injury.
Saw Dale Swaim going over Enny Romero, the lefty who's in now. Big hard thrower, 95 to 99 miles an hour slider changeup.
He is our Chevy call to the bullpen, pitching in his 37th game. Last year he had their top velocity at 99.3 miles an hour.
Morales looks like he got that off the front toe. Like a little maybe a cutter slider.
Walk to Morales to open the 7th. Tim Beckham moves from first to third base, and Richie Schaefer, who took over for Longoria as a pinch runner, stays in the game at first base. There to Salvador Perez, who's 1 for 2. And he's got a lot of movement on his fastball, but can't control it yet.
They love those big guys that can throw hard.
Sal pops it up. Souza there for the catch. Well, here comes Billy Burns, and we're excited to watch him and his debut with the Royals. Speed guy they got from the Oakland A's in the Brett Eibner deal. 273 career average with 106 runs, and he was in the top 5 in the Rookie of the Year race last year, hitting over 290 with Oakland. Pitchers made the adjustments this year and were able to get him out, but still he hit 234 before being sent out. Strike in the outside corner. Switch hitter, that's a value also for a guy with his speed and the leadoff.
And he knows what kind of hitter he is. He's not going to go up there swinging for the fences. He's going to try to find a hole. Got some outfield depth.
Burns to deep center field. Kiermaier will get there. Morales back to first and hustling.
Well, that would have been something. I think fans, though, are going to enjoy Billy Burns and the style of baseball that he plays. Couple interesting facts on him. One, his father was an NFL teammate of Joe Namath's. He was a backup running back for the New York Jets with Namath. But they say that his sister is the best athlete in the family. His sister Abby, a Special Olympian in many, many sports. And Billy says that his sister has thrown out the first pitch in a stadium basically everywhere he's ever played. And so he's hoping that that can happen at Kauffman Stadium. I told him I'm pretty sure that that will not be a problem.
You already laid the challenge out to the guys in the scoreboard back at the K.
I think they'll take care of it, and that would be a very special moment.
Yeah, he is very proud of her.
North
Equestrian and also swimming.
Yeah, I like that stroke. He just put his hands on that ball. A nice little quick swing. Kiermaier was playing him over into right field, and he made an excellent running catch. Saved extra bases.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen Kiermaier take a bad route.
Man, he's good. Platinum Glove winner last year. That's the best defensive fielder, period, in the American League.
You can vote for the Royals Player of the Month at one of the 7 Rally House locations in the Kansas City metro area. All participants will be entered to win a majestic prize pack. Paulo Orlando, he's been on once with a walk. Strike from Romero. Two years ago, after Andy Romero's last minor league game, he went back home to the Dominican Republic and he tweeted out, "I could pitch tomorrow." An hour later, he got a phone call from the big league club and said, "You are.
Nice.
Get to work."
How about that? So he'd already gone home when they called him back.
Way inside. He started and got the win in the Rays 3-1 victory. Well, you have a lefty, 97-98. He gets that command, they may be onto something special. Collapsed to the mound as he slipped.
Yeah, he didn't want to repeat that delivery, that's for sure. Just lost his
Not
balance.
a good fielding position.
No, on his landing foot, he did a little double hop. Paulo staying alive.
Good off-speed pitch. Strikes out Orlando. Bottom 7 we go. 11-0 Rays.
Tell you what, that defense, it's steady. Outside of the 2 pitchers' errors, it's been good. Now look at this, Salvi right on the money. Yeah, that's right. Stay hot, Salvi. Keep the defense true. Paulo had a nice running catch.
Brian Flynn is the new pitcher on for his 19th game. Billy Burns is in center field. Dyson will move to left, and Orlando goes to right. Everything else is the same. Although Butera is now catching. There's Burns getting his first opportunity to play center field for the Royals. Forsythe has been a tough out. He's been on base 3 times. Gerard in left.
Flynn sinking fastball, slider from the bullpen. He does have a changeup.
And that's a sinker. So Salvi given a few innings off of this one. Now it's short, and he throws it away, moving from second base to shortstop. And Christian Colon now in the game at second base. So Mondesi, it's interesting. First defensive play he had at second base made an error in the big leagues. Now first time at short, he's made an error in the big leagues.
Well, that's one that he could have prevented. That first one, that was a line shot off his chest. This one here was routine. Capsett does everything right. He just goosed the throw, and it was too low. And Haas, he's normally pretty good at that, but that's a tough pick there. That ball bounced about 5 feet in front of him.
Now Kiermaier, ball gets away, and there goes Forsythe to second base. Logan on for the 4th time.
I think it's safe to say that this is a stinker.
Yep.
If you're a Royals fan watching this one.
Very beginning.
Oh.
Rays hit for the cycle in the 1st inning. First 2 batters, double single, then a sacrifice fly, another single, and then a 3-run home run. And out later a triple. Catcher Butera grew up about an hour and a half, 2 hours from here in Orlando. Excellent player at the University of Central Florida. He was a semifinalist for the Johnny Bench Award, which goes to the top defensive catcher in college baseball. His dad Sal was here last night as a scout for the Blue Jays.
How hard that would be. You know, he's doing some scouting, advanced scouting, and to scout his son and turn that into his bosses there in Toronto. You know, it must be interesting.
Check swing. Did he go? Did not. And now it's a Tuminia Mazda game break. Ooh. Orioles against the Rangers. Carlos Beltran.
How about that?
Going from New York to Texas. Orioles lead is cut to 1.
That's pretty special. That was his 1,500th career run scored and 1,508th career RBI. Just one of 37 players to do that.
Wow.
Yeah, he's heating up. It's a good move by the Rangers to get him in that lineup with all those other sluggers in there.
Richie Schaefer up for the first time. He came on as a pinch runner when Longoria reached on an infield hit in the 6th. Six RBIs, 4 home runs. You don't see that often.
No.
Few solos.
That's right.
Strike in the inside corner. Come on, Brian, get that two-seamer down and get a couple outs on one pitch. Error and a pair of walks, not good. Bases loaded, nobody out. They had a similar situation in the last inning, and Ned Yost going, we don't have that many guys left in the bullpen, fellas. Come on. Broken bat liner caught by Colon. Go to second, but no advance.
Right fielder, number 20, Steven Souza Jr.
Steven Souza Jr. comes to the plate. He's already had a very good game with that 3-run home run back in the first. And he's singled 2 more times. Up that average to 246. He had not homered since June 4th, but ripped one down the left field line. Good breaking ball there. Swung on and missed. He could have a huge game with one swing of the bat. Bases full.
He's going to have a hard time getting those borderline calls because he's been throwing some balls. That was a pretty good spot there.
Yeah, I thought that was strike 3.
Yeah, but you know when you're wild, an umpire he's not going to give you anything.
Got him on the slider. So Flynn pretty good after that little pep talk from Butera, who came out after he walked 2 and loaded the bases. Got the broken bat line out from Miller to Colon, and now strikes out Souza. So he's got the lefty-lefty matchup that he desires with Corey Dickerson.
Slider is a good pitch for righties and lefties. It's firm. Low 90s with his fastball.
Dickerson with 15 home runs, all 15 against right-handed pitchers. He's had trouble with lefties. But Flynn falling behind the count 2-0. 3 balls, no strikes. Three and one. Ball 4 and a run in. 12-0 Tampa Bay.
Flynn just falling off. It's coming out of his delivery. He's really having a hard time with his shoulder and pulling it off, pulling pitches. Just not on groove.
Left fielder number 2, Nick Franklin.
Nick Franklin 3 for 4. And he belts that one to left field, but Dyson backpedals to the warning track and makes the catch, and that will do it. We are through 7. It's 12-0 Rays. Rays ties the most runs ever versus the Royals in a game, and Jake Odorizzi 20 2/3 innings of shutout baseball.
Yep, he cruised. There's no doubt about it. But we'll show you some of the homers that gave him this early lead. That was Souza Jr. Man, that ball was just crushed. Looked like he was off balance. That's his 11th. And then Miller, all of a sudden, just showing up some kind of power. Hits his 18th to the opposite field. And then Kiermaier, he hit his 6th as he hooked the pole down there in right field. And there's no doubt who the better team is tonight.
And yet they have outscored the Royals 14-6 in this series, but the Royals have won the first 2 games. Here's Ryan Garten, new pitcher, pitching in his 16th game.
Garten right over the top. Fastball, curveball, changeup. 88-93. Look at this. It was right over the top. That curve too has a little 12-6 action. A little short.
He was recalled from AAA Durham yesterday for his 3rd stint. He was up in May and also June. Mondesi 0 for 2. Now 4 for 20 on this road trip. Try to check his swing. Did he go? He did. And strikes out. The Royals and Fox Sports Kansas City are offering a unique way for fans across the Midwest to enjoy a game at Kauffman Stadium. It's the Forever Royal Fan Express. Fans in designated markets will have the opportunity to win a trip to the K. And our next stop is Lincoln, Nebraska on August 6th. Go to Royals.com/Fan Express for more information.
Yeah, that's Saturday.
Yeah, well, that's, of course it would be Lincoln, Nebraska on August 6th. That's Husker night.
That's right.
Bus is going to go bring a bunch of Big Red into a stadium filled with blue. Christian Colon up for the first time. Garten grew up watching a lot of games at this ballpark, as he was just the second player in Rays history born in Clearwater. Not too far away. Joining Ryan Webb, one of 3 alums out of J.W. Mitchell High School in Newport Richey to reach the major leagues. And he has back-to-back strikeouts of Mondesi and Colon to open his debut against Kansas City.
Looked like he took a little off that. Looked like a cutter. Nice pitch. Took some speed off.
Now batting, number 19, Chester Cuthbert.
Tyler Clippard and Patrick Schuster are also from his high school. Cuthbert 0 for 3. Struck out, lined out, struck out. Peter Moylan getting ready. Tough play for Miller. He gets Cuthbert though, and it is a 1-2-3 inning for Ryan Garten.
presented by the authority of Kansas City Royals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Kansas City Royals Baseball Club.
Here at the Trop, Steve Physiak, Rex Hudler, Joe Goldberg, Jeff Montgomery. It is 12-0. The Rays beating up the Royals after KC won the first 2 games of this series by scores of 3-0 and 3-2. Peter Moylan comes on for the 8th. Detroit beat the White Sox tonight 2-1. They continue to charge in the American League Central. Tigers have won 8 straight games.
On a roll. The emergence of Verlander coming back, understanding the art of pitching, not throwing anymore.
And Minnesota taking apart Cleveland again. They scored 9 on the Tribe again, trying to sweep that. 9-5 in the 8th inning. And that's at Cleveland.
Moylan sinker slider.
Tigers got a run in the bottom of the 8th to win that. And they got it off Chris Sale. Pitched a good game, went 8 innings, gave up 2 runs, struck out 10. But Michael Fulmer, who might be the Rookie of the Year in the American League, he went 6 2/3, gave up 1. Shane Green got the win. Fulmer's really good.
He creates an interesting arm angle there. Speaking of arm angles, that's what got Beckham.
1 out.
Beckham throwing sidearm. Really tough, that slider. It starts in the back of the hitter. It's you know, no shame in Beckham there.
Left side, Mondesi. He gets him this time. And a reminder, after our ball game, Boulevard Royals Live, coming up with Joel and Monte. And Rex, what will you be breaking down?
Well, talk about baseball, Fizz. Talk about how the Rays have been handled easily by our Royals. And tonight they're saying, enough of that. We're tired of getting beat by you guys. We're going to put it on you. And they did from the very first inning on.
Kansas City has won 12 of the last 13.
Yeah. It's a little payback here. But you know, the Royals can come back tomorrow and take 3 out of 4. That's what they'll be hoping for.
And our pitching matchup tomorrow, Ian Kennedy, who threw so well down in Texas, face off against Drew Smiley.
Now Smiley, he's given up a career high 22 home runs, 6th most in the AL. So got a couple of pitchers who have had some long ball issues. We'll wait and see how that one. That could be a high scoring affair depending on their pitch location and what kind of stuff they've got. Hopefully Kennedy's on the corner with his fastball.
His command was outstanding against the Texas Rangers.
Sure was. He stepped up.
Ian was 7 innings, no walks, about just 1 run in that last start. Texas, though, lost tonight. Kevin Gausman outdueled Cole Hamels and beat Texas. Rangers started the night 5.5 games up on Houston, but Houston not helping themselves. They're losing right now to Toronto. 3-1.
Can't believe they got to Hamilton.
Hamels went 7 HUD, gave up 3. Quality start, and that is outside, ball 4. Seventh walk by Royal pitching tonight. They have yet to have a clean 1-2-3 inning. Rays have had runners on the bases paths all night long. .26 base runners tonight.
It's not the game that Ned was expecting before it started. They were really counting on Volquez to go as deep as possibly could, but again, that first inning, he just couldn't find the corners. He was in the middle of the plate, and the Rays weren't missing it.
Kiermaier swings and misses so mightily that he spins like a top and lands in the seat of his pants.
Kind of an embarrassing swing here, I would guess. He twisted him like a pretzel.
They've had a pitcher land on the seat of his pants delivering a pitch, and now a hitter swinging and missing and landing on his wallet. Got him to pop up. Shallow right center. Orlando wants it. He takes it. And Moylan with a shutout 8. Gets back to schools across Missouri, so play it forward with the Missouri Lottery. By Menards. Save big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. And by your Midwest Ford dealers. Visit us at yourmidwestforddealers.com. 12-0 Rays lead it, punishing the Royals after KC has had won all 5 this year and 12 of their last 13. You go back to 2013, the beginning of that year, the Royals are 25-6 against the Rays. Well, hopefully they'll improve that mark tomorrow. Kennedy and Smiley lock up in a matinee. We'll be back home for 3 against Toronto. And then 3 with the Chicago White Sox beginning the 9th, 10th, and 11th. Garden came out throwing darts that last inning, striking out a couple of Royals and cutting right through a 1-2-3 inning.
He did. This is interesting though how he's right over the top.
Dyson lines out to the shortstop Miller.
I mean, his arm slot is just right. I mean, just as straight up as you can get. Hitters like to see it like that, but he's going to put a little bit of a slider. I didn't know he had a slider, and he threw a couple of them already. Looked good.
Now, why do you say hitters like to see that arm slot?
Because you can see the ball. You pick up the release point up there. The side is not. Well, watch it now. He's going to come right out, and it's going to right over the top, so you can pick it out pretty easily.
Hosmer to left field, deep, and a great catch by the left fielder, Nick Franklin.
Or he timed that perfectly. I thought Haas would have had extra bases for sure, because you could tell by the sound he crushed it. It's 2 very nice plays tonight. One by Beckham at first base, and the other right here. Picks it right off the wall.
Looked like he had hit the wall before he made the catch.
That's nice concentration.
Sure is. Kendrys Morales takes strike 1. The Royals have 1 out to go. Garton's trying to go 6 up, 6 down with KC. Good breaking ball. Strike 3. The Rays pay back the Royals in big fashion, winning 12-0. We'll be right back.